Welcome to an emergency podcast of 5-5 Sports, and we come to you today because of a very big game in the Champions League final. It is Bayern Munich versus PSG, two high-powered teams. I think two of the best teams in Europe, to say the least, after watching them this year, and they have deservedly earned their place in this year's final. Today, I'm with Darya Amirshahi to break down the final. And Darya, you watched both the semifinals. What did you see from both teams? Fairly comprehensive wins from both Bayern and Paris Saint-Germain.
Yeah, definitely. It was pretty routine for both of them. However, particularly Bayern Munich had a little bit of a struggle, even though the scoreline does not say so. 3-0 score definitely was a performance that was a professional performance from them, winning 3-0 like that. But they could have easily been down in that game, which makes this tie coming up very interesting. It's a battle of two, I guess, juggernauts, one that's been a champions for I believe 5 times now, and PSG, which could be a first-time champion. So I don't know. It's a really interesting tie. It's like there's a lot at stake for both teams, and I don't know. It's going to be a real tough one to even to predict, if I'm honest with you.
Well, I'm going to put you in that position because I think that's a big question. Both teams have their strengths, attacking, as we've seen throughout the tournament. Bayern obviously putting up 8 against Barcelona in the semifinals, and PSG has the high-octane attack of Neymar and Mbappe, a pretty expensive attack, but it is there nonetheless. But they do have other players, PSG. We've seen Cavani, not so much this term, but in previous years. Icardi, more so this term. Di Maria, who was phenomenal, deservedly the man of the match against, not Leon. I was about to say
RB Leipzig.
Leon. Well, against Leipzig, thank you. We saw Di Maria, who was deservedly the man of the match against RB Leipzig. So when you look at the players that PSG have, and when you look at the one weakness I think Bayern have, which is I think they play a very high line. And even we saw Barcelona, they got through 2 times. The much slower attack, Barcelona kind of play, high, more build-up play, start from the back, midfield. It didn't work against Bayern, but even we saw their attack, and we saw their fullbacks get through multiple times to create goals. Alba for the Suarez goal, and again, Barca's first goal was created by Alba, once again creating pressure. And then David Alaba put it into his own net. But that's the question for PSG is, can Neymar and Mbappe get through against that Bayern high line? We saw Leon do it when Memphis Depay missed his chance, and moments before Gnabry scored the opener, we saw Leon hit the post. And that's just, the game of football sometimes. And Bayern Munich ended up winning the game 3-0, but maybe it didn't deserve to be that thorough, that kind of that scoreline. It's going to be a great game. There's not much separating them. Obviously, Bayern Munich are going to be the favorites just because of the way they handled Barcelona and the fact that they've been there before, they've done it, and there isn't much to pick out from that Bayern side where you can say there's a weakness there, because their entire starting 11 there's no beating it. But we obviously know that PSG don't have any flaws. They'll be hungry. This is what they've been playing for. The French league really doesn't matter to them. They win every year without contest. So this is a big game for PSG. This is the one their fans been waiting for all these years. Since the day they've been founded. It's their first ever Champions League final. So you would for sure argue that PSG maybe have that extra motivation if you're a player from that side.
Oh, definitely. And you know what? The good thing about this, even for neutrals, is the fact that this is a really offensive game. I would think, in terms of the attacking talent on both sides, it's going to be quite interesting to see. I would actually say that one of the X Factor players in this game will be Angel Di Maria. I found the way he's played in the previous few games to be remarkable, and It's hard for me to say that as a United fan, but I do think that he will be a key player for PSG in this game. And obviously, we need player like Neymar, and Neymar has not had his shooting boots as of late, missing a lot of chances in the previous rounds. And Mbappe. So you know what the thing is, offensively, both teams have the capabilities to make this a really high-scoring affair, which makes it interesting coming into this game. I believe right now Bayern are favorites, but you just have this feeling that like the way Bayern Munich play with that high line, that this will be this game I think will have goals definitely.
Yeah, the funny thing in football is usually when you expect a high-scoring game, sometimes it's one of those 1-0 or 2-0
Yeah,
games. But in the Champions League finals, the talent that's on display on both sides. Serge Gnabry may be the hottest winger in all of football. The form he's in is just outstanding, and the fact that Arsenal let him go for 5 mil, it's when you look at it today, it's one of those things that make you scratch your head and say, what could have been for the Gunners. But there's just so much when you look at Bayern Munich on attack. You have Gnabry, Lewandowski, who's maybe not even being on form. He's missed a few chances. He missed a sitter against Lyon, and he only scored 1 out of the 8 against Barcelona. When you talk about Lewandowski, you expect him to be all over the goal, scoring 2 or 3 a game. But he scored every Champions League game nonetheless. He has 50 in this campaign. You just expect him to score. And if he doesn't in a game, you'd just be surprised. In the final, you could bank on a goal maybe. It's so hard to not predict goals because, again, you have Neymar, Mbappe, Di Maria. They're all on great form. That's why they're in the finals. They're all playing well, and there's not much separating it. The only thing separating is maybe Bayern's confidence. Obviously, they'll be maybe slightly more confident in the way they performed, but in a final. Both teams know that they deserve to be there, so they'll both have the confidence and hopefully the cockiness and kind of that extra level of flair that the Champions League final deserves.
definitely. Yeah, I would agree. And like as Canadians, it's really great to see the fact that Alfonso Davies will be
Yes.
in this final. That will definitely be something that I think a lot of us will be looking at to see how his performance is, especially playing at the back, which is quite amazing still, even for me. The fact that he plays at the back, because for Canada he plays obviously, and
Yeah, he
he
played
plays more.
left wing for and like the Gold Cup and those competitions that they played for sure.
But you could see his play though, the
Yeah,
way he plays even in game.
exactly. You can see his potential from a mile away. We mentioned it when we were comparing actually Pulisic and Davies. I think a few years ago we were talking about both of them when they were just starting to rise. We're talking about who was going to be better, and I had one of those feelings that just Davies may be that extra special player. They've turned out to both be world class players, which is just a joy to see if you're a fan of soccer in North America. But Alfonso Davies, I think you just have to take a moment to really appreciate what he's done. By now most Canadians would know his story. Everyone's seen what he's done. First Canadian to ever be in the Champions League final, great achievement. But for Alfonso Davies, people I think still don't understand the magnitude of how good he's been. In 1 year playing a new position, he's at the very least top 2 with Andy Robertson, but in my opinion, has established himself as the best left back in the world of football. And this is only his first year playing that position. So I think that is in itself, I think the biggest achievement for Alfonso Davies and the biggest takeaway you can take from moving to Bayern Munich is what a player he's turned out to be.
Yeah, definitely.
I think he's only 19, right? I don't think he's even turned
19
20.
years old, yeah.
It hasn't even turned 20. So what a career he will have in football. The sky is definitely the limit for him.
Yeah.
Let's do the hard part now. Let's make our predictions. We've talked about all there is to talk about. We've broken down both teams. We've broken down how they've gotten there. The most important question is, what's the scoreline going to be? I know it's not easy to predict, but we got to do
Oh
it.
man.
That's what the big boys get paid to do.
Jeez. It's just The way that Bayern Munich team plays when offensively is a joy, but that high line, it really bothers me. And we do see the fact that Barcelona were able to exploit it even in miniature form, and same with Lyon. They could have scored, and that could have been a completely different game. But you have to just look at both sides in terms of the midfield. You know what? If I'm going to be honest with you, I'm going to go for a little bit of a shocker here. I actually do think PSG will win this game. I think they'll win by a 2-1 scoreline. And I think it's simply due to the fact that I think the way that PSG played, even against Leipzig, was they dismantled them, in my opinion. And that is a telling factor that maybe that form will play into this game. However, finals have proven in the past that form doesn't matter. It's about one game, and that's it. But I do think PSG will come away with the 2-1 win to win the first ever Champions League title.
It's very hard to pick this game. You're right. This is one of the harder years, I think, to really pick the Champions League final. I think over the past few years, it's kind of been more balanced, or not balanced, it's swayed more one way. Obviously, it's swaying Bayern's way this year, but PSG are going to be in for a hell of a game. There's no doubt in my mind. I think the game's going to finish 3-2 for Bayern Munich. I just think their attackers are on too much form. They'll learn from their mistakes defensively. I think Hans Flick understands that PSG is a much quicker team and a much better team than Lyon and Barcelona. And it's just so hard to go against the German mentality. That Bayern Munich team just looks so hungry, and they just don't look satisfied. And the only way I think they'll be satisfied is, obviously, is if they win that, if they win the trophy. But the whole way, they've kind of just been quiet about their wins. They haven't gone, too overboard after any round, and just that kind of cold-blooded killer mentality is just what you see in so many Bayern Munich teams. And when you have a striker on form like Lewandowski and wingers like Gnabry, Perisic playing well, when next year you're going to add Sané to the next, good luck stopping them if they win this year, because it's going to be hard to stop them for the next 5-6 years with that attack. But just to finish it off, I think the defense isn't going to be set up that high. I think they're going to be less vulnerable to give goals to PSG just because they know they can't get away with those mistakes. PSG will punish them, and Manuel Neuer is playing great football once again. So for that reason, I think both teams are going to score. I think it's going to be a high-paced, fun game to watch, but I'm going to go with Bayern Munich 3-2. I have to go with the favorite, and I have to go with what usually works. Germans somehow win finals. So I will pick 3-2 for the Bavarian Giants. That feels good. I got something off my chest. This has been an emergency episode of 5-5 Sports. Darya, thank you for joining me to preview this Champions League final. I'm sure for the next week we'll have a lot of fun breaking it down, because I'm sure it will be a fantastic game to watch for the neutrals.
Oh, definitely. No, that to me, I think, is a guarantee. This will be something of a game.
Anyways, from 5-5 Sports, I hope you guys enjoyed listening, and we'll see you guys soon.
Take care.